First off, when I got my source told me the meeting was going to be 11:15 to noon, I thought that seems awfully short. What are you hearing about this meeting today?
Well, as you know, Brian, that would be a very short meeting. We would obviously love an opportunity to spend more time with this administration to explain the intricacies of the refining business. As you've mentioned, our refineries right now are operating at about a 94% level, which is a historically high level. Refiners in this country are really putting the pedal to the metal to refine more gasoline right now at a time of real market tightness. So I think what you're going to hear from us is an explanation of what's going on in this marketplace and how we need some relief, particularly on the regulatory side, to get more refineries up and going at a time of a really difficult situation for American consumers.
All right, so again, I'm going to play the other side of this role here, Mike, because what we hear from the administration and what we hear from, by the way, viewers or Twitter, whatever it is, well, 9,000 leases that are not being activated. Why are you not drilling when profit margins are high? Profits are not at records yet. That's sort of a misstatement that goes around, but they are up, and yet you are not drilling more as an industry by a wide measure. You're up, but not by a lot. How come?
In fact, this industry just last month hit about 12 million barrels of production a day, which is the highest levels it's been since the pandemic began. We can produce more in this country, and I think you're going to continue to see those numbers rise. As for that false statistic of 9,000 leases, we're producing on more leases today than we have in the history of our country. The utilization rate of federal leases on federal waters and on federal lands is significantly higher than it's ever been because prices are high. So I think what this administration needs to do is they need to stop using these facts that are just simply wrong. And they need to start focusing on the tone that they've set, which is that they continue to say that this industry is not even going to be around in the next 8 years. That's not going to provide the kind of investment that we need in this industry, which we know is going to be around for decades and decades and decades, because the world is going to continue to demand oil and gas. It's our view that they should be getting that oil and gas from here in the United States, not from unstable regimes abroad like Russia. In fact, we're sending a letter today to the president to request that he come to the prolific Permian Basin or go to the Marcellus Shale before he goes to Saudi Arabia to beg for more oil from Saudi.
I was explaining it to my son, Mike, and the way he's young, and so the way I said it is, imagine if you're being told that fast food is bad and fast food, because it's unhealthy, needs to go away. Then a year or two later, even, I mean, not long, you're saying, darn it, fast food, why aren't you producing more Big Macs and Whoppers? And fast food's like, well, you just told me 2 years ago that we're bad and should be going away. I mean, this industry has had to ping pong between wildly different energy policies on the Republican side as well. I don't know how you operate when every 4 to 8 years you've got a totally different set of policy agendas in Washington.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, Brian. But of course, we're different from fast food as well. You know, ours is an industry that produces essential products that the world is going to continue to need far, far into the future. In fact, the International Energy Agency suggests that even if every country meets its Paris Climate Accord agreement, the world was still going to get about 50% of its energy from oil and gas. So we need to continue to make those investments, but we need an investment environment, an environment from the top, from the President of the United States himself, who says that we need to continue to invest in these fuels and in production in the United States. And we're just not hearing that. We've actually put out a plan.
It just seems like, Mike, I saw the plan and we've talked about it. Just quickly, I know we got to go. I want to say, I mean, do you believe that this is largely an administration, and there are some very bright people in the administration, by the way, and a guy like Amos Hochstein, he gets it. He understands how the industry works. But as a whole, some of the things you hear just seems like the industry doesn't have a fundamental understanding of how things work, how they operate.
Well, we have great concerns about that. I spend a lot of time with the administration explaining how important this industry is to the world. and to American consumers. So we try to spend our time educating this administration on how important this is and that we're going to need this industry for many, many years ahead. There are some bright lights in this administration who want to help solve this problem. People like Amos Hochstein and David Turk at the Department of Energy. These are smart people who understand energy markets. Unfortunately, we're not hearing it from the podium, from the president himself, who continues to badger an industry that employs 11 million people in this country and accounts for about 8% of our GDP.